Maple marshmallows. These refined sugar-free marshmallows are a delicious treat and they taste so much better than store-bought. Let me show you how to make them.
Start by cutting down your parchment paper to fit into an 8-inch or 20 centimeter square pan. You could also do this in a 9-inch square pan and it'll work just as well.
Make sure it has pretty tall sides. We want nice, thick marshmallows.
I make cuts parallel to the long edge of the parchment paper. These are in line with each corner of the pan. This helps the parchment slide in easily. I use the larger flaps to hold in the smaller pieces and then I clip them down with a few little bulldog clips. This prevents the parchment from falling into the marshmallows. I've mixed up equal parts around a tablespoon of both cornflour or cornstarch and powdered sugar or icing sugar.
You could just use the cornflour and leave the powdered sugar out. I just like that little bit of sweetness on top. And if you haven't got cornflour or cornstarch, you could use tapioca starch or arrowroot.
Dust your pan liberally with the powdered sugar and cornflour mix. You want a really good layer coating the bottom so the marshmallows don't stick. This also helps with the texture and storing the marshmallows so that they don't stick together later. Set the rest of the powdered sugar and cornflour aside because you'll need it again later. This step is optional, but I love the way that the vanilla beans fleck through the marshmallow, and I've run out of vanilla paste, so I'm using a vanilla bean instead. Slice lengthwise down the vanilla bean and then scrape out all of the seeds. Then add the seeds into your vanilla extract. Give that a little stir to distribute the vanilla seeds, and the pods will get popped in a pot of sugar. You'll need 1 cup of water or 237 milliliters for this recipe, but you're only going to use half of that at this stage. Add half of your water to your large mixing bowl. Then add in 22.5 grams or 2.5 tablespoons of gelatin powder, and then give it a little stir to help the gelatin start to bloom. Set that aside while we prepare our syrup. To a medium sauce pot fitted with a candy thermometer, add 1¼ cups or 296 milliliters of maple syrup, and make sure you're using the good stuff. You can use any grade you like, light, amber, or dark. I prefer amber for this recipe. Then add in the remaining ½ cup or 118.5 milliliters of water and an 1/8 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt. Give that a very gentle stir so that none splashes up the side, and then stop stirring completely. You won't be stirring the mixture at all while we're heating it up. Turn your heat on to medium-high. You may need to adjust this if your stovetop is particularly cool or hot.
You want the mixture to reach 242 Fahrenheit or 116 degrees Celsius. This is really important because it's just the start of the hardball stage and it makes sure that your marshmallows are going to whip up and set. If you go too far above this temperature, it will just turn into a hard caramel and you won't even be able to pour it into your mixer. And if you go too low, you're just gonna have a soggy mess.
If it's starting to look like your mixture might boil over, remove it from the heat, slightly turn down your stove, and put it back on the heat. That should cause the boiling over to settle. When you're about 10 degrees from target, start whisking up your gelatin. When it starts to get close to temperature, you'll notice the bubbles on top will become smaller. Just be cautious for any splattering out of the pan. It's extremely hot and it will burn. Once the temperature reaches 242 degrees Fahrenheit or 116 degrees Celsius, carefully pour the syrup mixture into the bowl. You don't want it to run down the side of the bowl because it will cool too quickly, but you don't want it to hit the whisk because that will make it spatter everywhere. Try and hit it right at the edge of the gelatin so that it incorporates nice and smoothly. Slowly increase your speed until you get to around the highest speed. I've gone 1 lower than my highest. After about 2 minutes of mixing, when the mixture is starting to thicken, add in your 2 teaspoons or 4 grams of vanilla extract. I'm giving the bowl a little scrape to make sure I don't miss out on those vanilla beans. You'll need to whisk this for about 8 to 10 minutes or maybe a little bit longer depending on your mixer.
You'll want to make sure you reach this ribbon stage while you're whipping your marshmallow. It should set on top and then slowly sink into the mixture. That's how you know it's ready. Any sooner and the marshmallows won't set, and any later and you might not be able to get them out of your bowl. You only have about 30 seconds to pour your marshmallow mixture into your pan before it starts to set. So move quickly.
And then give it a few taps and make sure you break any bubbles that are on the surface of the marshmallows.
These should set for about 4 hours, but mine were ready in about 2, so you can give them a little test, and as long as they sort of jiggle back and gently stick to your finger when you tap the top, they're ready to go.
Once set, Use the powdered sugar and corn flour mix to dust the top again. You'll want to make sure to do this very liberally. I like to spread it out with my hand so that there aren't big clumps of powder on the top and it's just a nice smooth layer. Then lift your marshmallows out of the pan and carefully peel away the parchment. I'm using a large knife to help gently peel the marshmallow from the sides of the parchment paper.
You may find it easier to lightly butter the sides of your pan. You don't have to, of course, but I've had to scrape the marshmallows off of the parchment paper to release them.
Once you've released the edges, flip it over and gently peel away the rest of the parchment. Then dust the entire marshmallow with more of the powder. I'm cutting mine into 16, but you can cut yours as big or as small as you like. Larger marshmallows would be great for a giant s'more, or why not cut them super small and pop them over your hot chocolate? It's so satisfying cutting these. You'll want to spread them out once they're cut so that they don't stick together. Once they're cut down to size, dip them back in the powder on each edge so that they don't stick together when you store them. Obligatory squish test in 3, 2, 1.
You'll want to store these in an airtight container and they'll last for about a week, but do not store them in the refrigerator. If you found this video helpful, please head down below, hit the like button or the hype button, and leave me a comment. Have you ever made your own homemade marshmallows? And if you're looking for something a little more substantial and sweet, why not try my giant banana bread chocolate chip cookies? They're a copycat of Gideon's. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.